Hello and thank you for joining me on day 3 of the Echoes Q&A sessions with me, Paul Gorst, the Liverpool Echoes LFC correspondent. As ever, your questions have been coming in droves, and there's a certain player who quite a lot of people want to know a little bit more about, and that's Philippe Coutinho, a player who obviously left Liverpool over 2 years ago now to join Barcelona for £142 million. It hasn't quite worked out for him at Barcelona, and he's now on loan at Bayern Munich. So 2 questions coming in about him today. One from the wonderfully named Success Biki, I hope I pronounced that right, and Andrew Christie, who asked the very same question: will Liverpool look to bring Coutinho back? And the simple answer is no. There are several reasons for that. Essentially, Liverpool sold Coutinho for £142 million in January 2018. They used the bulk of that money to bring in Alisson, and Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool have essentially evolved as a team since selling Coutinho. A central attacking midfielder. Liverpool don't really play with one of those anymore, and number 10 if you like. Liverpool tend to have very workmanlike midfielders at a very high level, it must be said. You think of Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, very much workaholics who do a lot more for the team than a central attacking midfielder of Coutinho's ilk. He's a fabulous player, there's no doubt in that. Liverpool lost one of their finest players of the last decade when they sold him to Barcelona for that incredible fee, a fee that remains the British record for a transfer deal. And Liverpool have essentially moved on, it must be said. He didn't really pull up any trees at Barcelona before he was loaned to Bayern Munich in August, and he seems a lot more settled in Germany, it has to be said. I haven't seen too much of him since moving there, but I've seen 1 or 2 matches in the Champions League, and he does appear to be settled a lot more and playing a lot more like his old self at Anfield. But Liverpool, as we say, have moved on, and it's not as simple as Liverpool just deciding that they can fancy him back and moving in the transfer window. There are so many factors to consider. The player's family, who've moved a couple of times over the past 2 years, and the player himself. So that one is not one that will be coming to fruition anytime soon, it has to be said. The next question has come in from James Kaezi. Again, I hope I pronounced that right. He snuck in 2 questions, so I'll answer the second one first. The simple one: are Liverpool looking to bring in a backup for Alisson Becker? Simple answer to that is no, as it stands. Adrian remains the backup, an able deputy, played around about 200 games for West Ham, and he's had about 7 or 8 years Premier League experience before he moved to Liverpool in August. He's probably played a little bit more than many expected with Alisson's injuries and suspensions, and he was obviously at fault for one of the goals during Liverpool's recent Champions League exit against Atletico Madrid. But as a deputy, as a plan B, as a backup, a player who probably won't play that much next season, you would imagine, he remains firmly in Jurgen Klopp's plans. So Liverpool won't be bringing in an additional goalkeeper this summer. To your other question, it's a little bit more nuanced, and it's a thorny issue, and it's the question that everyone wants answering at the moment. His worry, James says, is will the Premier League season be null and voided if they can't come to a resolution over when that will be restarted? I can't answer this definitively, I must say, but it's my understanding that there seems to be a collective determination from plenty of Premier League clubs across the division to get this league finished, get it done and dusted, get it over the line with every team playing the 38 games. Now, as and when that happens is anyone's guess. The Premier League and the Football Association are due to meet on Wednesday to come up with a fresh strategy. Obviously, football was delayed on March the 13th, pushed back till April the 3rd, and then it got moved back to April the 30th. In all likelihood, that will again be moved back as the ongoing threat of the coronavirus continues. But as and when that happens, it is yet to be decided. But there does seem to be a collective determination to finish the season off. Essentially, it would come down to money. The television deal is 9.2 billion, which is an incredible amount of money. There's still 92 games to be played between now and the end of the season. Most of those would be televised, so you think of the amount of money that has yet been given to Premier League clubs without fulfilling that contractual agreement. So it essentially, in my view, comes down to money and whether those games can be completed and televised as agreed. That can come down to behind closed doors games, and there's several options that are on the table, and the Premier League, Football Association and all the football authorities will consider every option in that determination, that steely resolve to get the season finished without null and void in that season. So many legal complications as well. You look at the Championship with Leeds United and West Bromwich Albion, who are both in first and second in the Championship. If they were to be told that they couldn't be allowed into the Premier League next season, would they kick off some legal action? Teams in the relegation zone at the moment, they would fancy their chances of getting out of that if they were allowed to complete the season. So in my view, we're a long way away from having the season null and voided and essentially writing off Liverpool's 7 or 8 months of hard work. So that is how things stand, but obviously stay tuned for all the latest on that surrounding the Premier League and imminent plans for what is expected to be a pushback of the Premier League. So stay tuned for that. We'll have all that across the Liverpool Echo website, of course, as and when we get it. But as things stand, in my view, the Premier League are doing everything to ensure that the season is finished and every team does play 38 games. But stay tuned to the Liverpool Echo. Keep your Q&As coming in. We will continue to do this daily and answer any questions that you send in, so keep them coming in.